So like I said earlier, I'm a solutions consultant at Sage Intacct. So today we're going to talk a lot about how Sage Intacct is helping those finance teams close faster, gain deeper insights, and drive smarter decisions. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into the environment today, and we'll get right into it. Okay, so the theme of today's discussion is going to be how Sage Intacct gives you guys that better visibility in a more efficient way for more accurate decision making. So we're going to look at this from 3 points of view, right? We're going to talk about Sage Intacct as that multi-entity hub, right? Driving that reporting, driving that visibility into your business, right? We're going to look at this from an efficiency standpoint. So how are we automating those intercompany transactions, right? And how are we making you guys more efficient when it comes to reporting across all of your entities? The last thing we'll look at is how we're leveraging AI inside the platform to automate the close and push those insights right in front of you guys. So let's take a look, right? Here I'm on my controller dashboard. So this is like my morning newspaper. This is the first thing I look at when I log into Sage Intacct every morning, right? And these dashboards are going to be highly configurable to the role and to the user. So maybe I care more about cost of goods sold than cash on hand. You'll see me click and drag that component, right? Maybe I don't care at all about intercompany revenue. I can get rid of that, or I can add a component from here, right? But different members of your team are going to care about different metrics. So my controller's dashboard is going to look different than my CFO's dashboard. My AP manager's dashboard is going to look different. And I might have different dashboards for different functions, right? Now, Sage Intacct is going to leverage what we call a modern chart of accounts. So what I mean by that is we're going to see these really clean account numbers inside Sage Intacct. We're not going to see dots and dashes inside our account numbers. And that's because as we're transacting, we're leveraging what we call a dimensional general ledger. So we're leveraging these dimensions as data tags so that as I push in a journal entry, as I create a transaction in the system, I'm tagging these transactions to the department, maybe to the class, right? The revenue stream, the item. And that's going to enable me to interrogate my data from these dashboards and slice and dice my data later on. So for example, on this filter, maybe I want to see these reports and metrics inside my dashboard, but only as they relate to my admin department. I'm just going to apply that filter, and now we're only going to see metrics related to that specific department, right? So I'm looking at these metrics across all my entities, and I'm able to drill into that specific department. Even inside that department, right? If I wanted to pop into a specific project, right? I could take that a step further, and I can adjust these filters on my dashboard to filter by different dimensions if I want. Right. So again, that better visibility in a more efficient way for more accurate decision making, right? On a system like QuickBooks or Xero, what you guys might be experiencing is exporting this data to Excel, trying to piece it together to get it how we want it, and then applying filters to pull the insights we need. And oftentimes, by the time we do all that, that data is stale. I've got to do it again. Okay. So I want to highlight this message thread over here on the left-hand side of my screen. This is our Sage Intacct Collaborate tool. So we're going to allow you guys to communicate about what's happening inside Sage Intacct, actually inside Sage Intacct. Okay, and a couple things happening here, right? When I say that better visibility in a more efficient way, I mean that we want to prompt you guys from these dashboards to ask the right questions about your business and then give you the utility to drill down and find the answers. So for example, Emma Penny, that's our controller here. She's messaging her staff accountant, Tom, saying, hey, explain this cost of goods sold variance from budget. And she sees that, right, because of this metric here. And she sees that because of this cost of goods sold metric built into her dashboard. So if I'm Tom, if I'm her staff accountant, I'm going to drill straight into that cost of goods sold metric. Okay, I'm going to drill into my actual. And looking at a subledger, I'm just going to keep drilling into that AP bill itself, right? Now, I can actually go from that high level, that KPI level, down to the transaction level, just a couple clicks here. Okay, I've even got my attachment, my invoice attachment built in. And inside Sage Intacct, we won't look at this today, but we're actually going to give you the ability to use AI to just drop these invoices in the system and have them automatically map, right? Now, if we look at the bottom, this is what I mean by that dimensional general ledger. We see that really clean account number. I've tagged this bill to the department, the project, the vendor, the class, right? I can also drop into an audit trail for this transaction. Now, Sage Intacct is the preferred provider of accounting solutions by the AICPA, right? And a big reason why we're the first and only solution to have that AICPA endorsement is because of this audit trail that you see built into the system, including that strong system of internal controls, and because of this user-friendly platform. All right. So we've talked about navigating in the system, using those dimensions, drilling down. Now I want to talk about Sage Intacct as that multi-entity hub for your business. Okay, we're going to think of Sage Intacct as that multi-entity hub in 3 ways. The first way is going to be navigating across all of our entities. The second way is transacting across our entities. And the third way is consolidating. So getting those really clean income statements and balance sheets. So now I'm operating at the top level here. Okay, you guys just saw me drop into entity 100. Notice I didn't log out, log back into anything. I just dropped into that entity. This tab opened up, and now I'm only reporting and transacting inside entity 100. Okay, and I can set controls in this way too. So maybe someone needs access to all my entities. Maybe someone only needs access to one entity, right? I can set up my controls in that way. Now, we're also going to automate these intercompany transactions across our entities. So let me show you what I mean. You'll see me use this bookmarks menu to drop into an intercompany transaction that I've configured here, right? And inside this entry, okay, it looks like I'm transacting across 7 different entities here, right? So it looks like entity 300 is providing some services to these other entities. And as a CPA, I see this and I start to get heartburn. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a nightmare to reconcile. I'm going to have to go in and record these do to do froms. But what Sage Intacct has done for me is it's come behind me and automatically recorded this entry to keep me in balance. Okay. So I recorded this entry in pink up here at the top of my screen. Sage Intacct came in behind me and recorded that entry in green. All right. Now, what this probably looks like in QuickBooks, right, is I'm recording entity 300 side of this entry. So I'm recording that revenue side, and then I'm booking that receivable, right, that due from. But then I'm trying to log into entity 100, do the same, log into entity 200, do the same, right? In Sage Intacct, we're taking that away. So we're doing 2 things. We're saving you time by automating, and then we're making sure we stay in balance to give you guys confidence in your numbers. Okay. So I said the first way we would think about intercompany is navigating across these entities, right? We talked about that. The second way is automating these intercompany transactions. Okay. We looked at that as well. And then the last way is consolidating. So we don't have a ton of time to get into it today, but what I'll say is Sage Intacct is going to automate those consolidations across our entities to make sure that revenue isn't inflated, right? When I pull that that multi-entity income statement, and to make sure that when I pull my balance sheets, they're really clean. I don't have those do froms hanging out on my consolidated balance sheet, right? Now we've covered dashboards, reporting, multi-entity visibility. I want to talk briefly about report creation, and then we'll finish on using AI in that month-end close process. So you'll see me click and just drill into this profit and loss. And I just want to tailor this a little bit, right? Now, you guys don't have to remember the how here. We have a really strong implementation process at Sage Intacct. Just have to remember the why. Okay, so we have a library of over 130 pre-built reports. So odds are if you're looking for something specific, it's going to be there. But let's tailor this report together just to demonstrate the utility of this financial report writer. Okay, and this tool is designed for users not to need a background in IT, not to need a background in data analysis to be able to leverage it, right? This tool is built for accountants by accountants. A Sage Intacct administrator isn't a thing, right? Now, inside this revenue field, I'm just changing the dimensional pivot of these rows. So I just want to break out my revenue by class. So for me, I just want to understand what type of business is driving that revenue. And I'm going to break out my cost of goods sold by department to understand how my departments are impacting my margin. And lastly, I'm going to change that dimensional pivot, right? Because that's all I'm doing here of my operating expenses by vendor. So I want to understand where my cash is actually going. Okay. The last thing I'm going to do here is inside this column tab, this just looks like a spreadsheet, right? I got my account name, my actual, simple enough. But inside this actual tab, I want to expand that dimensional pivot across my entities. So I actually want to see what entities are driving my profitability here. So let's take a look at what we just created. Okay, and now you can schedule these reports to push to your email. You can embed them into your dashboard, but I'll always encourage you guys, right? Embed these reports into your dashboards. Use this data because these are updating real time as you transact. So right now, okay, we've gone from creating reports entity by entity in QuickBooks, okay, exporting them to Excel, piecing them together to get the insights we want. By the time we do all that, right, that data might be stale. We have to do it again. To when you log in every morning, I've got this combined financial statement across all of my entities broken out in the way I want. So now I understand, okay, mid-sized business is really driving revenue for entity number 2. Why? Okay, I spent a lot of money on marketing entity number 2. What's going on here? And I've paid my CPA 75 grand this year. Now that might be a good thing, but is there any of that we can take in house with a better system here? All right. So that's reporting. Again, we're thinking about Sage Intacct for that better visibility in a more efficient way for more accurate decision making. And with my last couple minutes here, I want to show you guys how we're leveraging AI to eradicate the close. Now, we want to use AI as almost like a backstop for your transactions because when we're pulling these reports, right, and we're leveraging to make them to make business decisions, we want to know that the data is relevant, timely, and accurate. And this is how we're doing this by eradicating that close. So here in my close progress monitor, right, I've got my tasks categorized and I can see how far along I am in my AP, my AR. I can see which tasks are overdue, right? Maybe I want to pop in, adjust some of those. And I've got my tasks divided into buckets. So I can see, okay, how much have I recorded for this period? How much have I reconciled? How much have I reviewed and then reported? So I'm monitoring that close in real time. But we're going to take this a step forward and I'm going to run my close assistant here from the screen. Okay, now this close assistant tool is taking the guesswork out of that month-end close process. So I don't have to track this close process in an external spreadsheet, right? I can create it inside Sage Intacct, and this close assistant is going to prompt me to run these tasks. So I'm just going to go ahead and run my variance analysis from the screen. Okay. Now we talked about Sage Intacct prompting you to ask the right questions about your business and then facilitating you drilling down to find those answers, right? We're taking that a step further right here. So it's provided me a variance analysis. It looks like my operating expenses are a little over budget. So I'm just going to ask Intacct to describe the variance. Okay. And this generative AI tool built into the system, it's going to give me an explanation here, right? So this is highlighted that I'm over budget. Not only has that highlighted that I'm over budget, it's explaining why. Saying, hey, that salary and wages expense is coming in a little over right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just pull that full financial report. And now I see it, right? I see that those payroll and related expenses broken down. That's what's driving that budget overrun. And of course, I could drill down if I want to. But we've talked about a few things today, right? The key concept is that better visibility in a more efficient way for more accurate decision making. Okay, we've talked about how Sage Intacct has that user-friendly interface. It's going to be that multi-entity hub for your business. We've talked about the flexibility in reporting to give you guys the insights you need. And we've talked about Sage Intacct using artificial intelligence to eradicate the close here. Okay, now we're really excited about this functionality that we built inside the system. I would love to maybe take any questions that the group has at this time. So I see.
Thank you very much. Questions? Yes, questions for Ashley. I know I've had a couple of questions coming from Margaret.
Yeah.
Margaret, you were asking where to find the innovation report. I've dropped a link actually into that question for you. You'll see it at tech.growcfo.net. It's one of the menu items, but I've given the full link as a direct reply to that question. Any other questions coming in from Ashley? Certainly, I've got one, Ashley. Now, virtual close. I was talking about Cisco systems and that being the exception. Are you seeing very, very fast close with users of Sage Intacct?
Yes, yes. We like to think of Sage Intacct either eradicating that close or providing that real-time close for our users. One, because we're prompting our users to do those month-end close tasks, and we're automating a lot of those tasks inside the system. So instead of that month-end crunch, right, users are automating, pushing in accounts payable bills, saving them literal weeks, hours off of pushing those accounts payable bills in, especially with those consolidations. I was talking to a business yesterday, and the CFO said, man, if we could automate these consolidations in the system like you're showing, that would save me 40 hours a month. So,
Yeah.
yes, shaving those hours off that month and close. And I am seeing a few questions. A few questions in this Teams chat that I would love to just answer, Kevin, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
sure.
Perfect. So, Margaret, I saw a couple coming from you. The first is, does Sage Intacct allow reporting for multiple stat accounts? Yes, absolutely. So I even have an operational reporting deck built in because I get this question a lot. So we're going to allow you to push in these operational metrics like number of labor hours, maybe number of units sold, maybe monthly deals closed per rep. Oftentimes we see square footage, right? Miles driven. And we can leverage those statistical accounts to compare against our financials. And I see German, UK, Australia, we do support multi-currency, of course, in Sage Intacct, and we'll automate those translation adjustments. As far as the level of detail for our budgets, we can get really granular. So we can assign those budgets to dimensions, we can assign them to accounts inside, we can split them out month over month. So we can get pretty granular. We do offer, which we didn't see today, a full cloud-based budgeting tool to get you guys out of those spreadsheets, create your budgets and forecasts inside Sage Intacct, and it has a bidirectional sync to Sage Intacct to report on those and then sync your actuals back into that planning tool to model. Now, is this dashboard an additional feature to pay on top of the regular annual subscription? No, those dashboards, those reporting tools that we saw today, even the intercompany transactions, that all comes with the core package, right? Because Sage is really built on that better visibility and that being that multi-entity hub for your business. Now, I think I saw one more come in. Do you support crypto accounting? I would love to get a little bit more information on what you need. I will say I have sold to cryptocurrency brokers before. As far as actually managing that crypto in Sage Intacct, I would have to dig a little bit deeper into what you guys actually mean, but we've certainly dealt with businesses in the crypto space before.
Yeah. So, Ashley, I'm just quickly running the two polls that you asked us to include.
Thank you.
Um, I might have run them in the wrong order, actually. The first one, we're saying, what's your biggest financial management challenge right now? Oh, is it manual consolidations and reporting delays? Is it lack of real-time visibility? Is it data accuracy? Is it scaling systems? Uh, what is it that's causing you the issues right now? Okay. Give folks just 2 more minutes to answer that. Okay. So I'm going to close that poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I think that's interesting just to share actually that data accuracy and audit readiness doesn't seem to be an issue for anybody, but now it's pretty equally spread across the other three options. So we've got three real pain points in there: scaling, real-time visibility, and manual consolidations, all coming in equally. Okay, and I'll quickly run the second poll. Okay. How would you describe your current month-end close process? Fully automated and complete after within a few days, partially automated, mostly manual and spreadsheet driven, or unsure, it varies by department or company or however you're organized. Okay, yeah. And that I'm seeing something that's, yeah, I'd expect that. I'm okay. I'm 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just closing that poll. Interesting again to share the results on there. Mostly manual and spreadsheet driven. Half the people attending. Partially automated, but still manual in a lot of areas for the other half. So nobody's fully automated. Yeah, it's probably about what I'd expect, I think, Ashley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay. Right. So, any more questions for Ashley? I think we've answered everything that's come through. Brilliant. Ashley, thank you very much. I enjoyed that.